Hello everyone, my name is Clantis and welcome to my YouTube channel. So without further ado, let's get into today's video because I suspect it might be a bit of a long video, but please do bear with me because I got asked a very interesting question in my Instagram DMs. If you are not following me on Instagram, I am at Clantis_Dumagude. That's where you can ask me questions. I definitely do respond and engage. But so the question was, what broke our criminal justice system? Why our criminal justice system seems to not working, especially why is it not working for the citizens of South Africa? Rather, it is protecting the criminals. And then I thought about it. I was like, I remember our criminal justice system as imperfect as it was, but it was still able to fight crime. And I will unapologetically tell you that since 2007 going down all the way to 1994, our criminal justice system was working, and it was also being improved because there were a lot of apartheid laws that were being repealed. Other laws were being also developed because South Africa, at the end of the day, it is a constitutional democracy. So some of the laws that were practiced in the apartheid days were pretty much draconian, and they needed to be changed and to suit the constitutional dispensation that South Africa has gotten itself into. And I'm telling you, fighting crime was working. And I will tell you one institution or body or something that the criminal justice system gifted the people of South Africa with. And let me tell you something, it was working. It was working so much so that many South Africans, myself included, made all of us think twice before we committed a crime because we knew cameras will be outside and somebody knocking on your door, basically declaring or announcing that you've been under arrest for whatever crime that you have committed. And who those people are? The Scorpions. Do you remember the Scorpions? Since the disbandment of the Scorpions in 2009, South Africa went to the dogs. I'm talking in terms of our criminal justice system. Now, when I talk of the criminal justice system in South Africa, I'm talking about the police, forensics, National Prosecuting Authority, including our magistrates. Because from the judicial level, things are still fine as far as I can tell. The independence is there. Judges are held accountable. Right now, the judge in the Senzo Mewa case is being held accountable for some few things, even though they will not say. If you look at another judge that was being disciplined, I think it was Judge Hlophe, and then you look at other judges in a country that may have been in a position that they shouldn't have not been. Why? Because they get reviewed by the JSC and or the Constitutional Court Chief Justice, who is basically the head of all judges in the country. So let's talk about the Scorpion. So let's talk about the Scorpions. So in case you forgot, or maybe you don't know what the Scorpions are, let me take you through a small little history as to how these people operated. These people, we were impressed as the citizens of South Africa. I think we had some peace of mind knowing that if you committed either an organized crime or some high-level crime, including corruption, the Scorpions were going to come and sting you. Whether you were a politician, a sitting president, a civilian, a policeman, a traffic cop, they did not care, those people. They made arrests without fear or favor. But now what happened to the Scorpions in 2009? So, because high-profile politicians like a deputy president, like some high-level politicians were being caught in corruption activities, the Scorpions did not care. They went there with their cameras and they basically exposed you when they arrested you. People, every time you try to commit one crime or another, they always threatened you that they are going to report you to the Scorpions. And as a result of that, the citizens were towing the line, including the politicians that today are rapidly corrupt and without any shame. And so, as you guys know, that in 2007, I think around October or so, President Thabo Mbeki was removed as the president of the country without constitutional provisions being followed, by the way. He was just removed by his political party. Just to make a disclaimer, this video is not about politics, but it is about how our criminal justice system got broken or we lost it. And so I'm just taking you through that history, a part of the history as to what contributed, I believe, that contributed towards the breakdown of our criminal justice system. And the Scorpions is one of that I believe was the reason why we find ourselves in a situation we find ourselves today. So basically, let me just read something about the Scorpions just to remind you, and then from there I will get into my thoughts about how everything basically transpired. So basically, the Scorpion was the Directorate of Special Operations, commonly known as the Scorpions, was a specialized unit in the National Prosecuting Authority of South Africa formed by President Thabo Mbeki, tasked with investigating and prosecuting high-level and priority crimes, including organized crime and corruption. An independent and multidisciplinary unit with a unique methodology which combined investigation, forensic intelligence, and prosecution. The Scorpions were known as elite unit and were involved in several extremely high-profile investigations, especially into the arms deal and into high-ranking ANC politicians, including Jackie Selebi, Jacob Zuma, and Tony Yangeni. So basically, the Scorpions, like I said, it's known as the Scorpions. The abbreviation was DSO, which is the Directorate of Special Operations. And the motto was Justice in Action. And boy, did they dish out justice, because they did. So basically, agency overview formed in January 2001, dissolved in January 2009. It employed 536 people. So basically, that was the Scorpions. But just to finish off some few things here that I feel that you need to know. Basically, the Scorpions were established in 1999, promising a special and adequately staff-equipped investigative unit to deal with all national priority crime, including police corruption. They arrested police, y'all. Though formally launched in Gugulethu on the 1st of September 1999 as a Directorate of Special Investigations, the unit did not legally or operationally come into existence until January 2001, by which time it had renamed DSO. It was formally disbanded in January 2009 and replaced by the Hawks, who don't have teeth. A move pushed through parliament by the ANC and often alleged to have been politically motivated. So now let's get into exactly what had happened. Like I said, the Scorpions arrested anybody and everybody that was suspected of a crime. Now you must understand something about the Scorpions. They were independent. They reported to the National Directorate of Public Prosecution, NDPP, which the one that basically prosecutes those that are accused of crimes. And so the unfortunate thing about some of these criminals or accused was that the Minister of Police, the police commissioner, nobody knew who was being investigated. They didn't know if they were getting investigated. They didn't know if their fellow comrades were getting investigated. Or family members or friends are getting investigated by the Scorpions. And so the Minister of Police, being in the dark, always frustrated the Minister of Police because he wanted to know, he wanted to be kept abreast about who is next to be arrested? Who is next that they're investigating? What crimes has this person is being investigated for or being arrested for? And they were always on their toe, just worried about when or who is next. So the other thing about the Scorpions that I used to also like was the fact that whenever they made an arrest, it was always in the wee hours of the morning and cameras will be all over you. They had their own media department that had camera crew, and they will also announce or basically alert the journalists that they are going to be making an arrest. And of course, journalists will go there and gather around that particular accused house or office or whatever the case was, and we will see the arrest. The transparency was awesome. It was almost like a Hollywood type of movie. And as a matter of fact, they used to accuse the Scorpions of operating like Hollywood. But I thought, it's transparency. We need to see these things happening so that it curbs the rest of us from even thinking of committing a crime, lest we want to be seen on television covering ourselves with newspapers like this. Because that's what we used to see when they made these arrests, especially with these big politicians. As I've said, the Scorpions treated everybody equally. They operated without fear or favor. Now, that being happening, the country was disciplined. Criminals were scared. I'm talking even illegal immigrants that were here in South Africa, they toed the line because they knew that one little mistake, the Hawks will be right there at their door. That's how effective and efficient these 536 men used to be. For a politician to be corrupt, it was very difficult for them because they were afraid. The traffic cops, they never took bribes. They were afraid because they would be arrested right there on the spot. That is how effective these guys used to be. Everybody did not commit crimes. If you did commit a crime, you were brave in committing those crimes. There used to be cash transit heists that used to take place, and the Scorpions made sure that all those syndicates were caught. Think about it. Do you think if the Scorpions existed, the Zondo Commission of Inquiry would have existed? That Commission of Inquiry would not have existed because all those people that were implicated and brought before the Zondo Commission, they would have long been arrested, long being prosecuted, and probably serving time in jail. That's how effective the Hawks used to be. I don't think any of those people that were implicated in the Zondo Commission would have committed any of the crimes that they were accused of that brought them before the Zondo Commission of Inquiry in the beginning. So that's how wonderful our criminal justice system was running, and they kept on developing it because the 335 men were going to be increased, and I think they were busy training more personnel to be part of the Hawks. I think they were even going into the SAPS and training some SAPS police to come over to the Scorpions. And I think they were being trained somewhere in the US. I'm not quite sure if they were being trained by CIA or FBI or something like that. That's how powerful this unit was becoming. But corrupt politician or politicians with intention of corruption, they said, we are putting an end to this, and the founder of this nonsense needed to be removed, and that was Thabo Mbeki. And when Thabo Mbeki was removed as the president of South Africa, these people wasted no time. They did not follow the constitution. They just went in parliament and used their majority. I'm talking about the governing party, used their majority in removing or disbanding the Scorpions. And in January of 2009, we woke up in one morning and we were told that the Scorpions were being disbanded. They were disbanded. And then they were replaced by what today we call the Hawks. Now, when the Hawks were put in place, they removed their teeth. They could not make arrests, or they can arrest, but they can't prosecute, they can't investigate. No, they can investigate, but you know what I mean. Because at the end of the day, we have people that have been implicated in the Zondo Commission of Inquiry, and the Hawks are right there. How come these people are not being brought before a court and prosecuted? How come these people are not convicted yet? And yet, this commission was concluded when? 2019, 2020? I don't care how you feel about this whole Zondo Commission of Inquiry. I know I'm going to be getting attacks about that. That is politically motivated. I don't care. The fact of the matter is our parastatals are in shambles because of those people that were implicated in the corruption of Transnet, in the corruption of SAA, in the corruption of Eskom, all these things are evident. We are struggling today because of the corruption. The remnants that we are suffering is because of those people. And if the Scorpions existed, believe you me, SAA would not have fallen the way it did. ESCOM, there would be no load shedding if the Scorpions existed. There would be no, Transnet that is experiencing this, whatever it is that is experiencing currently. The illegal immigrants will not be operating like as if this is manna from heaven for them. Our rail lines will still be working. Our cables will not be being stolen, and the infrastructure of the country will not be slowly, piece by piece, being destroyed by people who don't belong here because they came here with the intention of either sabotaging us or criminally making sure that we are disabled. The disbandment of the Scorpions created a situation that today leave every South African wondering what exactly is going on. And the funny part about this, when the Scorpions were disbanded, many South Africans were not outraged. I don't know, maybe they were being mesmerized at the time when Thabo Mbeki was being removed and they did not see, or maybe they were fooled and gullible by the politicians that are corrupt and told them, oh, well, the Scorpions were targeting people using political conspiracy theories. Look at us now. Why? Because we do not apply our minds into something that we are being told. We just say, feed me, whether it's lies, feed me. And here we are today, and we are asking ourselves, how did we get here? I'll tell you how we got here. We got here because we supported the wrong people. We listened to the wrong people. And now we are suffering the consequences of us not listening. Today, the Hawks are under the Minister of Police. This means that the Minister of Police, whatever the Hawks do, the Minister of Police knows. The Minister of Police will know who the Hawks are investigating. The Minister of Police knows who is about to get arrested after concluding their investigations. The Minister of Police knows if any of his comrades, his friends, himself, or anybody that he knows is about to get arrested or is charged or about to be charged with a crime, he's able to say, not this one. Just like that. But with the Scorpions, he did not know who was next because the Scorpions were independent. They reported to the NDPP. The NDPP reported to the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development. Or maybe the head of the Scorpions. I think, the head of the Scorpions used to report to the Minister of Justice, not to say to the minister, you have a say here. We are just letting you know this is what we are doing, basically oversight. That's what the minister did only, and did not have any powers to stop any investigation, to stop any arrest. They did not have that power. Only the National Prosecuting Authority had that mandate. The fall of the Scorpions, this is when we started seeing rampant corruption. This is when we started seeing the breakdown of our criminal justice system. They started with the National Prosecuting Authority. They started taking yes men and putting them at the prosecuting authority so that whenever the prosecutors are about to prosecute a politician, they are able to influence and control the NDPP. We saw that. It was playing itself out. We saw as well when they tried the public protector, Thuli Madonsela, to try and break her teeth so that she is not as independent as she was today. Thuli Madonsela is hated by a lot of politicians whom she exposed, including the state of capture reports. When she did her investigation to check what exactly is going on in South Africa, and she came with that report bore the Zondo Commission of Inquiry. And many people are upset because of that. I don't understand. Why would you be angry? Even if, let's say, it's politically motivated. Today, people are suffering. Right now, people's jobs are being lost. The post office. Let's start there. People are losing their jobs in the post office. People are losing their jobs at the SABC. People are losing all the parastatals. There is some job shedding that is going on, all because the Scorpions were disbanded. Don't get me started with our borders. Our borders are in shambles because people are doing as they please. They no longer had the fear of the scorpions knocking on their doors. The police, let's talk about a lifestyle audit. Some police, they come home with 9,000 Rand after deductions. But look at their lifestyle. Look at their lifestyle, the expensive cars that they are driving, Italian holidays that they are taking, mansions that they live in on 9,000 Rand after deduction salary. Think about it. If the hawks, if not the hawks are toothless. If the scorpions still existed, the police will be in line today. They would fight crime. There is a crime fighter right now that I've been seeing a lot on YouTube. This is Octola. I think it's done by Olani. I'm not sure what his surname is. This man is supposed to be protected or at least assisted by the police. But guess what the police told him? Oh, dude, we don't want to get involved. Our superiors don't want us to get involved in things like this. I'm sorry, what? Y'all are supposed to be fighting crime. Olani is finding the criminals and he's saying, come and protect me. Or let's work together. But the police are saying, no, we're not going to get involved. We're just interested in taking salary at the end of the month. That's it. You know why the police are not going and assisting Olani? Is because they are in the pockets of the drug pushers. They're in the pockets of the criminals. They're in the pockets of the people that are busy destroying our country and leaving us as the citizens powerless and defeated. If if the scorpions existed, trust and believe me, there will be no Olani today. Olani will be at home doing some other stuff that he, as a citizen of the country, ought to be doing without worrying about crime in his community. Like those superiors, they need to be investigated. Where Olani goes, there needs to be an investigation as to how come there are drug dealers in that community and yet there's a police station. All those things need to be investigated. But guess what? All that is not going to be done at this point. As long as us, the citizens, are still quiet about the independence of the hawks, then we are not going to be, we're going to continue crying and asking questions like when, how, why our criminal justice system was destroyed. In November, I came here on YouTube and I reported to you guys that my house was broken into. And let me tell you something, to date, no arrest, and yet I showed them the people that did it. No arrests were made. I was sent an SMS being told that my case is closed. Forensics came to my house 4 days later after I've been calling for forensics because it was in my living space, the crime scene. And eventually when they came with an attitude. And when they came with an attitude, they started asking me, why did you move this? Why didn't you move that? If we find your fingerprints here and don't find the criminal that did this, it's your fault. But you came 4 days later. How was I supposed to function in my place with everything turned upside down? That is our police today. But if why I keep saying the hawks? If the scorpions still existed and held the independence that they had, all of that would not have happened. We would not have Nyaope today. We would not have Wunga today. All the Nigerians that allegedly that are doing these crimes, they would not be here in South Africa. South Africa will be a no-go zone for them. Illegals will not be here. Our borders would have been tightened. But no, apparently we have the hawks. They're almost like the scorpions, and yet yes, crime is rampant in South Africa. Criminal justice system is just going a different direction. It's not protecting and serving the people of South Africa. But how do we solve this problem? This problem can be solved in so many ways. How do we gain back our criminal justice system to work for us as the citizens? Let's bring back the scorpions. Okay, fine. They were disbanded. How about giving the Hawks the independence that the Scorpions enjoyed? But I think the Hawks, the people that are working there, are pretty much tainted. I would not trust a thing from them, unfortunately. For how many years now? Almost 15 years, they've been under the Ministry of Police, who probably controls everything that they do, disable many things that they're supposed to be executing in order for justice to be served. They are accustomed now. How do we trust them? Should we have a whole, what do you call this? Should we overhaul the Hawks and then start from afresh and then grant them the independence that the Scorpions used to enjoy? Maybe we'll start seeing a difference. Let's also depoliticize the National Prosecuting Authority, where politicians don't make an appointment of the NDPP. How about we also give independence to correctional services? Instead of our correctional services being under a minister, why don't we have independence there? So that crimes that are taking place in our prisons do not exist. That rehabilitation be a real thing for somebody that is incarcerated, not come out worse. How about constitutional development? Why don't we also put that under independence instead of under a minister? Our country is falling apart because the citizens are not active. It is only us. Remember, the whole concept of democracy is that the people shall govern. We are the ones that direct the government on how we want to be governed. But we are quiet. But it works for them. As long as we are ignorant, they are able to do as they please. But if we are active, teach ourselves things, I believe that we'll be able to hold all these institutions that are supposed to be serving and protecting us, they would be doing so. Do you think if the Scorpions existed, Thabo Bester would have escaped? No, he would not. He wouldn't have dared to escape. The G-Force securities at Mangaung Correctional Center would have reported him the moment he tried to pitch a situation for them that involved money. They would have rattled on each other. But you have G4 securities who are accused at the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court. Why? Because they have no fear in their hearts. They probably are confident that they are going to walk free after this trial. Do you think this is the end of the Thabo Bester? I don't think so. As long as our police, as long as the entire criminal justice system is not restored, we are going to be hearing worse things than Thabo Bester. Senzo Mayiwa case. Do you think the crime scene would have been messed up the way it was? Because the Scorpions would have went to the investigating officers and say, wait a minute, so you don't know how to secure a crime scene. You get there, you see the floor is clean, and yet there was a shooting and somebody had died. Where's the pool of blood? Where does it show that you were investigating? Why a member of the Hawks is present at the crime scene? Who called the member of the Hawks at the crime scene by himself, not with his team? Today, the very same person has been appointed as the deputy police commissioner in charge of detectives all over the country. He personally will be investigating the self-deletion of Mr. Mkhawulesi. Yeah. You ask yourself, what on earth is going on in South Africa? It is the disbandment of the Scorpions that has gotten us here today. That is why our criminal justice system is in shambles. So yeah, here we find ourselves, fellow South Africans. A criminal justice system that is not going to work for us. If a crime is committed against you right now, you're on your own. The police will come, but they are not going to get to the bottom of what caused all of that and hold those people criminally accountable. They will tell you the case is closed. There were no witnesses. Apparently, that's their new line, or the tagline. There were no witnesses. It first started with the vans. Oh, there's only one van operating. Only one van? And that van is busy, was in a far-flung area of the jurisdiction. Like, I thought we were in South Africa. Like, what's going on? So those are the things that you're going to be told today. There were no witnesses, or there was one van, or something. When we all know that the criminal went to the police, gave them money, and said, lose the docket. That's the sad part about our criminal justice system. That was left of it today. So try to avoid a crime being committed against you. Just try your best. I don't know how, but let's try our best. Because the criminals know the South African criminal justice system is broken. That is why they're doing as they please. They're hijacking people's houses now. Yep. Your house could be next. And guess what the police are going to do? Oh, that's a civil matter. It's got nothing to do with us. Oh, that's for the municipality. It's got nothing to do with us. But a crime is being committed. Somebody's house is being hijacked. Hijacked being the operative word. Isn't that not Schedule 1 of the Criminal Procedure Act? But the police will tell you, oh no, this is a horizontal thing. It's not vertical. Anyways, guys, that is what I believe had happened to our criminal justice system, the disbandment of the Scorpions. That's where our woes started. Somebody else might think something different. That's fine. I'm not going to argue with that because there are many other factors that contributed towards the breakdown of our criminal justice system. I will not argue with your contribution. But what I will not accept is people, because they got some political affiliation or political personal relationships or political support for a certain politician that was alleged to be corrupt. Why? I will not accept that, no, the Scorpions were being used to sting them. Why would the Scorpions be used to sting them? Today, here is the evidence. Political conspiracy theories. Here we are today. So I will not accept that argument at all. If you want to argue it, you'll do it by yourself. I would ignore your comment. Totally. But anyways, guys, if you like the video, give it a like. If you do not like the video, give it a like. Leave me a comment down below and let me know if you have any memory of the Scorpions. How did you used to feel then when the Scorpions were in operation in South Africa? Were you comfortable? Did you have a peace of mind? Were you fearful of committing a crime during their time? Trust me, all of us, we were fearful. And do subscribe to the channel and don't forget to click the bell notification so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. Guys, I want to beg. I see y'all watching my videos, but you're not giving me the like. You see that like button? It activates the algorithm to push my videos to more people. So please help me out with the like button. That's all I ask of you. I'm not going to ask you to subscribe, but the like button, I ask you, I beg, please press the like button. And let me see you again in my next video. Goodbye.